Southern California is known as a place of opportunity since it originally became one of the most populated areas in the country. This dense group of cities has only grown as changes in the economy and state of the country has changed. Things from Hollywood to the weather have made this area continue to see steady growth throughout history. But with the shift in thoughts towards the megalopolis and the new generation, things have gotten interesting. So there are some questions. Why has Southern California grown so much? What makes people want to move here? And what does the future look like? So today we're going to try and answer those questions and give an overview of the SoCal Megalopolis. Before the video starts though, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. We upload content like this every week, so if that's the kind of thing you're interested in, click the subscribe button so you don't miss any future uploads. It's easy for you and I really appreciate it. Also check out the channel memberships. It's an extra way to help the channel and I really appreciate it. Thank you. So Southern California is one of the most populated areas in the country, with the second biggest metro, Los Angeles, being the region's most major city. It feels like the New York City of the West. The megalopolis is home to over 22 million people, something seen nowhere else in the western United States. So let's start by going through the major metros one by one, giving brief overviews and population growth. Starting with our first metro, Santa Barbara, Santa Maria. This is a populated area encompassing the two major cities, as well as Los Alamos, Lompoc, and the other communities in between. Santa Barbara is a very historic city as far as the Californian coast goes, being founded as one of the California missions in the middle to late 1700s. These missions serve as the creation point for a lot of these coastal cities, being founded mostly by Catholic missionaries, including Philippe de Neve and Saint Junipero Serra. Santa Maria was not founded as early, being closer to the point of California's statehood, but it still has very major Spanish influence. The metro had a population of around 100,000 in 1980, with it being hard to tell due to the nature of these communities, but it has grown to around 443,000 in 2023, with a population increase of 343%. Next we move down the coast to Oxnard, Thousand Oaks, and their surrounding communities. This area, located just northwest of Los Angeles, has been forgotten in many ways, being a very important growing area. Oxnard is an important coastal town and a fertile region. Now I will say growth has started to slow here, with Thousand Oaks losing population since the 2010 census, but that may have more to do with a lack of room rather than a lack of demand. The population was 529,000 in 1980, improving to 832,000 in 2023 at a rate of 57.2% in that time frame. Home to more than half of Southern California's population, the city has the largest skyline, airport, and most cultural significance. It's home to the Los Angeles Dodgers in baseball, with Crypto Arena also located downtown, home to the Lakers and currently Clippers. It has lost some sports teams to places like Inglewood, and the Los Angeles Angels have always been located in Anaheim. But it still has important and undeniable culture attached to it. There are obviously problems, as there are with any major city. Gang activity, homelessness, and traffic have swept their way through the entire valley, and have made it a less favorable destination for relocation. But it still has a lot going for it. The population was 9.2 million in 1980, improving at a rate of 40.6% to 12.9 million in 2023. Growth in the city has slowed in recent censuses, but that doesn't mean it's dying or anything. Next up we move off the coast to San Bernardino, Riverside, and these eastern communities. So this is a part of the greater Los Angeles area that has been growing at the fastest rate. Places like Moreno Valley, Beaumont, and into places like Menifee are now significantly more favorable for new families and individuals who have decided against moving more into the big city. You get a lot of the good without most of the bad. Because of this, the growth has been extreme. In 1980, the population was 714 individuals, improving to 4.7 million in 2023, which is a growth rate of 553%. The most we'll see in today's video. Next up we move to the Coachella Valley, which includes cities like Palm Springs, Indio, and Coachella. This is an interesting area, located far enough outside of LA to be its own thing, but still getting a lot of influence from the big city. Obviously, the big thing it has going for it is the Coachella Music Festival, held in Indio every year. This brings a lot of tourism to the area, with an attendance of over 200,000 people every year. This metro is north of the Salton Sea, a man-made body of water which has created some interesting history. The population of Coachella Valley was somewhere around 86,000 in 1980, it's hard to tell, but it improved to 370,000 in 2023, a gain of 330%. Moving to the south, we have our final American city on the list, San Diego. Los Angeles' southern counterpart, which has a much better reputation, being in the running for the best city in the nation, according to some. Weather goes into this, with it being a very favorable place to live for most. It has significant naval influence within the bay, and it's also a very beautiful area. It's hard to argue that. The city is home to Balboa Park, an important 1,200-acre park just north of the downtown. The park has an interesting history, but it's definitely known as one of the most important and famous in the country. The population of San Diego was 1.7 million in 1980, increasing to 3.3 million in 2023, an improvement of 90.6%. Finally, we have our last city, Tijuana, Mexico. Just over the border from San Diego, these two cities could easily be considered one metropolitan area. Either way, Tijuana is the second largest city in Mexico and is one of the fastest growing in the country. It's known as a popular tourist destination, with the busiest border crossing on the US-Mexico border. Despite this, it's also extremely dangerous, especially with violent crime related to gang activity in the cartel. In 1980, the population was 437,000, improving to 2.7 million in 2023, a massive increase of 517%. So that's our overview of cities in this megalopolis, adding up to a total population of over 24 million if Tijuana is included. So let's go over some interesting things related to Southern California and try to tell you why it's become so popular. Starting with weather, a key factor in the region's growth. Places like Los Angeles, and especially San Diego, have a reputation for beautiful weather, usually along with not much rain. The average highs in Los Angeles stretch from 67 in December to 84 in August. Obviously it gets hot, but there are 9 months of the year that the average weather is beautiful. In San Diego, it gets even better, with the average highs stretching from just 66 to 77. There isn't a bad month here. This is a main draw, because even though the region has its knocks in other categories, at the end of the day, weather matters. And having this level of consistency is something I would love. In Wisconsin, where I'm from, the average highs stretch from 23 to 80, meaning the highs aren't even that much less here than in California, but the average highs here in months like January are less than the record lows in Los Angeles. That can go a long way for a lot of people. Moving to economy, Southern California is driven by the entertainment industry, and obviously places like Hollywood. For as long as most of us can remember, Los Angeles was the place to go and get into this industry and become an actor or something related. It's still a driving force, being home to a bulk of internet influencers and other important figures in the industry. It also sees a lot of influence from the technology industry and all the other normal things you'd expect from an economy. The megalopolis does have some bad though. There's a recent growth that has begun to dwindle in certain areas, and some industries are leaving for the next new thing. Because of reasons like the weather and economic conditions, it has brought a large rate of homelessness to the area. Los Angeles has Skid Row, one of the densest buildups of homelessness in the country. Everywhere in the LA metro, homelessness is seen, and people are aware that this is a problem. It's just hard to do something about it when the region has been built the way it is. San Diego is known as one of the best cities in the country by most, but this is still a major problem there as well as everywhere else we've talked about. As well as this, the traffic in freeways has made the more major cities, especially LA, notorious for terrible traffic all day long. There are so many cars everywhere. It's hurt visibility, ruined commutes, and has made driving a whole different game. So what does the future look like for the Southern California megalopolis? It's not in as good of a spot as it once was, but you don't necessarily have to look at it from such a bleak standpoint. Yes, people are leaving for different areas, but there's still growth and things aren't falling apart. There are problems, but there's good to make up for it as well. Just looking at it geographically, it's a great place to live. Beautiful mountains, weather, and beaches on your front doorstep. One-day trip away from national parks or Mexico for all I care. But there's obviously more that goes into it. It'll be interesting to see if trends continue or shift in one direction or another. Thanks for watching. Thank you to the members this week: Wise Enderman of the Soil, KMS162, JL, Sir JC17, Bryson, Jerome McCall, Dominic Psyche, Rosebud 4, Jeremy Jarvis, Christopher DeAngelis, Darkbird, Elijah Pass, Big Pasty, Jeremy Crone, Wolfling73, Snyder Schwein, Florida Jake, Stormy Knight, Nikita Martinoff, Benjamin Whiting, Ryan Devins, and Hazev the Wolf. I appreciate you all so much. You really help out the channel.